Right about there. Interlock your hands. Feet shoulder width apart. Kind of stay loose and then keep your eye on the ball.
Okay.
Once it does. Come back. Don't worry about swinging super hard.
Alright, and check for me. We good? Alright, so name, location, debut year.
Josh Weimer, Oshkosh, Wisconsin. First time in the ring was 2005 for NWA Wisconsin. A lot of people do like almost a baseball follow through. They want to let go with that hand.
I don't trust myself.
They're used to swinging that, not like.
Yeah. Oh, I can do baseball. I can play baseball. I can't. This is new. I don't think a lot of people would have guessed 2005 NWA Wisconsin, since people know you for ACW. What was that then? Like what was that moment?
First time that I was ever in the ring was my birthday weekend, end of October, 2005. Dylan, you'll hear a lot about him. Short stack at the time, had a little surprise for me. So he had a little spot for me in the ring to come and break up him, and he was feuding with Tan Ann at the time. And so Reverend Ben Johnson was in the ring interviewing the two of them together. And I was standing in front of Tan Ann trying to keep Swoggle away, well, short stack away. And the big turn was that I ended up giving Ben Johnson a nut shot.
So this is the front end?
Yes.
Okay.
That's the end you want to hit.
I really know nothing, okay?
See that?
I mean, I hit it.
So I had a red scrolling belt buckle. I peeled off my security shirt and had my short stack shirt on underneath and turned my scrolling belt buckle on, and it was reading NWAWisconsin.com. And I'm up on the middle rope, celebrating with the fans who nobody would have cared at that time. Who little, me security guard with a NWA Wisconsin scrolling belt buckle, but for me that was the coolest thing to be involved. Well, like Bogger, I think 300 plus.
Yeah. Well, I knew he golfs.
Takes off, yeah. He's actually pretty good. He's got some power behind it. It's got to be the calves.
Yeah. What made you a fan of pro wrestling to begin with? Like as far back early years as you can go, really.
I know that I was a fan before it, but my first memory that I actually have is WrestleMania 6. The Hogan Warrior match was, to me it was magic. I remember being a Hogan guy back then. There's photos of me in my Hulk Still Rules tank top from 1989, and I was a Hogan guy through and through.
Yeah.
And I vividly remember I was crying after Warrior won. But I remember Hogan losing, and I was so upset. And then in the months following, I became a Warrior guy. Really? And yeah, I think it was just, he was literally a superhero to me. Colorful, bright, he looked the part. Couldn't understand a word that he was talking about, but to me that didn't matter. You see him just bolting to the ring and shaking the ropes and just nonstop back and forth, the way that he was selling, whether it be, the cocaine that was going through his system, or he never sat still, but.
I mean, he commanded your attention one way or another.
Yeah, he might have been in a rest hold, but he was always kind of shaking, trying to get you going. Yeah.
So, what made you make the transition from being a fan to being involved? Like, what was the bridge?
Just going to indie shows. I didn't know anything about indie wrestling until probably 2004, when I met Dylan working at Target together. Then come to find out that he was wrestling for NWA Wisconsin. I'm like, I don't know what that is. So I'd gone to a show in Theresa. It was my very first show that I'd ever gone to, and it was so cool to me to see, one of my good friends at the time in the ring doing it.
Okay.
The 9 is significantly shorter.
Okay.
It's just got a little bit more loft, designed to get the ball a little bit higher in the air. It's not going to go as fast.
Pretty much any time there is a golf reference ever, it's like people like to hit people with 9 irons more than anything else for some reason.
It's got that, it's short, but it's compact.
Okay.
Gives you a lot more torque.
So that's why the 9 iron is the preferred weapon of
Preferred weapon, yeah. You can swing it a lot harder. From that point forward, I knew I just wanted to go to as many indie shows as I could. And most of the time I was just literally tagging along with him. Anything that I could do to go along and help out, I was more than willing to do. happy. Like I just wanted to feel like I was doing something for the company.
That's actually, when I first got in, I just wanted to do anything at all. I just got lucky to where they threw me a ref shirt and was like, hey, you want to try this? And I was like, sure. And it turns out I didn't suck.
Yeah.
So,
Turns out you were pretty good at the dang thing.
Yeah.
It's kind of crazy to me how everything just kind of spiraled in a positive direction. You know, going from just being a fan to going to do security to Dylan saying, hey, you know, you want to start running shows in Oshkosh? No, I don't, Dylan. Like,
You said no at first?
absolutely.
I lived 15 minutes away from the Greenbrier. I've been there like 4 or 5 times, just taking tours and stuff like that. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
That is awesome.
There used to be a big underground bunker for like World War II purposes. Like if anybody ever dropped a nuke on it, like during the Cold War, like they take classes there all the time and like give you a tour of this is the giant bunker where a nuclear bomb hit, and this is where this would work.
Just, we didn't know what we were doing. I had lived with him at the time, and he was on the road with WWE. I told him flat out, no, I don't want to do this. I don't want to put you through this. I don't want to put myself through this. And so we started running shows.
What's this, a big risk that can go wrong in this many ways? Let's do it.
You know, and I guess, you know, being straightforward, we were lucky that he had the financial backing, being with WWE for so long, that we didn't have to take out a business loan to start anything. You know, we took out a Dylan loan, and within the first 10 months, we had him paid off. Like the business took off for us. You know, we started out at Timbuktu with, you know, less than 100 people, and, you know, 4 years later, we're at 2,500 people at the Menominee Nation Arena. Like, business has been good for us, but a lot of hard work, and man, to think where I came from to being able to be a part, and people to look up to me and ask me, like, hey, how do you get involved? You're asking me. Like, I was that guy.
Yeah.
That was me.
Shane is wearing trunks for the first time ever. Would you have trunks on Shane Hills?
I don't believe it.
Yeah. It happened at Tanner's. It was awesome.
There's no belief, man.
Like he told me in bed because I've been this nervous in wrestling for a long time.
Yeah.
So I'm worried about my balls falling.
What is the coolest single experience you've had so far being involved in the world of professional wrestling?
Never in my mind would I ever think that Josh Weimer would ever have the opportunity to introduce Bret Hart. I did that. Like, I should have never been in that position to do that, but I did, and I'm grateful.
All right, well, I hit it. Is this part of the simulation too?
I look at the fact that I got to sing with my baby tonight with Jeff Jarrett in the ring. I sang with Jeff Jarrett. Like, what? Like, how? Oh man, that was something.
Do you think 15-year-old Josh Weimer would have ever believed you?
Never in my wildest dreams.
I did this when I was a kid. It's been like 20 years.
The indie scene of wrestling, it's a whole different beast than watching it on TV. It's much more interactive. It's much more fun. You actually have connections with the wrestlers because you're not watching through a TV screen, or unless you have like a lot of money for a front row ticket at a WWE event, you're not watching from 20, 30 rows back.
Right.
You know, you're this close to touching someone.
I tell everybody, like, well, you do what with wrestling? I'm like, you know, that's that style of TV or wrestling that you see on TV. Like, that's what I do here in Oshkosh. Like, even if you're not a wrestling fan, you'll probably laugh a number of times because it's just straight entertainment. But it's the same thing that you'll see on TV in a much more intimate environment.
Yeah.
To the point where there will be wrestlers that will come out and make fun of you.
Yeah.
You will get to go and slap everybody's hand. I mean, you can definitely tell when there's a group that's having more fun than others. You know, and all of a sudden there's another group that's like, hey, that group is having a lot of fun. Let's start in on this chant. And all of a sudden you've got 3 groups going, which turns into 100 people. And now you got the whole crowd going, all because one person decided to let loose.
Yep.
You know, and that's how indie wrestling is. That's how ACW Wisconsin is. Like, our fans it's a little cult following. They get behind their guys. They know who they're cheering for, and they've now developed friendships with each other to the point where they're getting together before the shows and, you know, going and grabbing a beer before they come. Like, they didn't even know each other before they started coming to these shows, and now there's friendships being developed throughout the fans. Like, that's so cool to me.
It's easy on the video game machine too.
I think Jack Nicholson do it. Jack Nicholson?
Well, it's Phil Mickelson.
Phil Mickelson. I've seen Phil Mickelson. Have you ever had thoughts of doing more than you've done so far? Like, have you ever had thoughts of being a wrestler, referee, manager, whatever it be?
I started out and I did train for like 2 weeks back in '05. I trained with Cash and he threw me into it real hard. Learned how to bump, learned how to basically run the ropes, awfully, but I did it. And then we went right into body slams. And then we went right from that into vertical suplexes. My first day of training. And then when you get somebody small like Weimer, you can do something a little bit more fancy. And he literally goes, you just try to stay as straight as you can. And he holds me upside down for felt like a friggin' minute. And then he drops me. Cash isn't a small dude.
Yeah.
Like, it's a big bump for your first day of training.
Yeah.
And then I think I just kind of realized that being in the ring and doing it wasn't for me.
Kind of offended you didn't say to be a ref. Nobody ever wants to be a ref. Nobody starts out wanting to be a ref. I know you're a shoe guy.
I'm a big shoe guy.
Big shoe guy. Did you get the Giannis shoes?
I have the very first ones. It's called All Bros. Got the names of all of his brothers around the bottom, which is kind of cool. He just had a pair released this last week that's like plaid. Like the swoosh is like a red and white plaid. It's kind of, they're unique. They're unique.
You do not want to use the word ugly.
I don't know. I don't like calling shoes ugly because there are people that like them.
Yeah. What legacy would you like to leave when you're finally done with any interaction you have? When you're done, what do you want to be remembered for?
I'd like to be remembered just for being a part of something special, being able to entertain fans, bring families together for so many years. I look at guys like a Dave Hero that's been running these super shows for so many years. Guys like a Frank DeFalco, who I don't even think he knows who I am, but I look at what he's done with Brew City for so many years, keeping fans coming back. I mean, I don't know, like I don't really think about the whole legacy thing because I don't know when I'm gonna be done. I don't have any intentions on stopping anytime soon. Like the fans coming in and the fans leaving with smiles on their faces, and anything that we can do to keep that going, that's it. That's my dream right there. Like being involved in this business and keeping fans coming back, wanting to come back, that's a legacy right there. Thanks for watching. You can find me on Twitter at Josh_Weimer, on Instagram at Josh_Weimer. Follow ACW Wisconsin on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram at ACW Wisconsin. Check out acwwisconsin.com for any tickets for a big WrestlingCon event. Thanks to Between Counts with TJB. Make sure you give that page a follow on YouTube, on Facebook. They put out some great content. Thanks, TJ.